Rebels Without Cause, Part 2. LaVey emphasized that his paradigm for deportment within the Church of Satan was for our members to treat each other as ladies and gentlemen. There is enough strife outside of our organization to satisfy those with a fetish for conflict. He never required that all Satanists like each other. Since we've never been about fellowship, we don't require that all our members work with each other either. Here is the basic house rule. When members have conflicting values, they are to go their own ways, not wasting energy and time sniping at the members who have selected different methods of applying Satanism to reach personal satisfaction. Quite a simple guideline, we think. However, this is too much to expect from some. Usually the ones who never got Satanic rule of the earth #1. Do not give opinions or advice unless you are asked. If you encounter a would-be mutineer to Satanism, you should ask the question, what are you rebelling against? If the reply is that Satanism is conformist, you might look around at the varied collection of interesting folk and wonder what blinders he's been wearing. If you hear that Satanism is too restrictive, then you need to follow up and find precisely what this person thinks is being forbidden by Satanic philosophy. Chances are it will be some act currently deemed to be against local laws. Satanism can't stop people from criminal behavior. It does counsel them to be aware of laws and to advocate their reform when proper, but meanwhile, to be prepared to accept the results if disobedience leads to prosecution and incarceration. If the answer is simply, "What have you got?" that reply indicates the responder simply a directionless malcontent with no self-definition and no grasp of the fundamental principles which go to order the hierarchies inherent in the human species. Freedom always requires responsibility, and that responsibility includes an honest and accurate evaluation of the facts at hand, as well as wise decisions based on that knowledge. To simply think that being anti-everything and utterly without restraint is a definition of Satanism is to entirely miss our discriminating foundation, our roots in Epicureanism. Satanists always remain in control of their exploration of pleasure. Indulgence, not compulsion, is our founder's dictum that moves us out of hedonism, which by definition is unbridled and thus compelled. Epicureanism, the balance seeking of physical and mental self-satisfaction, embraces a wider range of gratification. It is refined, selective, and embodies our concept of indulgence. We are gourmets in the banquet of existence. Hedonism is limited to base carnal pursuits. Epicureans aren't prudes, nor are we slaves to any of our desires. Rather, these are motivators towards seeking all manner of fulfilling experiences. The hedonist blindly seeks his lusts for sex, sustenance, and soma. Consequences be damned. That is a self-destructive course, inappropriate for Satanists. Satanist does what he wishes. Satanist does what he wishes, taking full responsibilities for all consequences to his actions. We live in human society and must be aware that there are legal repercussions that vary in each locale. If you choose to ignore this factor and wind up in prison, you've become powerless and will waste your precious days under the dominion of others, not the satanic position of choice. If you live the life of a petty criminal and consider your jail time to be a badge of outrageousness and iconoclasm, you'll win only scorn from true Satanists. We see that penal institutions are full of skells of similar ilk and are not favorably impressed. Satanism does not deny pleasure or deep and varied pursuit of it, but it counsels that wisdom and sensibility must be employed in search of fulfilling indulgence. Pragmatism is axiomatic to our system. We are realists. So the idealism of just do whatever feels good is exposed by Satanists as a childish recipe for personal disaster. Satanists understand that good and evil are purely subjective values. Hence we oppose that which affects us negatively. That is a personal judgment based on what we determine to be of value. We are not automatic contrarians, simply countering whatever is in widespread social fashion, or might be prevalent in our vicinity. This latter approach brings to mind the Monty Python sketch in which a fellow seeks an argument but simply gets an opponent who automatically gainsays whatever statements are presented. Being guided solely by whatever it is I'm against it means that you are enslaved to the people whom you oppose, as they determine what your reactions will be. The Satanist, who naturally sees himself as his own God, does not generally care what other people think about him. His monumental sense of self-worth leaves no possibility for him to be touched by critiques from the unworthy, but he does examine the reactions of the individuals whom he has come to cherish and respect. Thus the discriminating iconoclast and true rebel descends out of reason and passion, and possible options, not knee-jerk reactivity. Definitions are crucial for establishing human communication. If the meanings of words were whatever one felt they should be, according to whim, only confusion would result. We therefore defend the clear and concise definition of Satanism created by Anton LaVey, and do not permit it to be adulterated by outside pseudo-Satanists and insiders who lose track of the elegant architecture of Dr. LaVey's principles. Satanism will continue to take into account the evolution of human society, based on an unflinching evaluation of the nature of the human beast. Such adaptability is built in. It is a system without frozen dogma, being inherently flexible. But there are the basics in the Satanic Bible which will always remain constant, providing meaningful differentiation from other religions and philosophies. We also know that freedom in practical application means that one has a choice between actually available alternatives. It does not mean that the world will suddenly alter itself simply because someone decides they wish it were otherwise. The universe is not chaotic. The universe is not chaotic. There is most definitely structure and order, and much of it is based on very complex levels of stratification and interaction. This is not a limitation. Nature, to be commanded, must be obeyed. In understanding the mechanisms that move the universe, we become empowered to comprehend what is mutable and what must remain immutable. This is the essence of the magic of mastery and the key to success, in all undertakings, It is the hallmark of the true Satanist. So, we do not accord the honorific of Satanist to rebels without cause, acting the part of misguided mavericks in a shallow attempt to one-up the true alien elite. It is reserved for the noble few who, by their nature, are drawn to their own reflection, to the integrally sound philosophy of the Church of Satan. House masochists should realize that we have no interest in witnessing their threadbare theatrics. Those Meshuggah messiahs should look elsewhere for appreciation, to people who use self-sacrifice as their guiding image. Not from Satanists. We stand sure and proud as the captains of our own destiny, plotted with all of our faculties, sharply enabled towards the task of maintaining triumphant joy. Know that the authentic Satanist, like our founder before us, is fully self-aware, hypercritical of himself above all, cognizant of his allies, and, as it suits his purposes, he employs reasoned dissidence as a means for inspiring meaningful evolutionary revolution.